it's live, I think. We think it's live. I have actually no way of knowing anymore because they keep changing it. Wow, my hair's real. Where are you going? Where's that? What is that? Oh my gosh. Oh, here, let's see. Can I tuck it? Do a tuck. Sure. Hi everyone. Happy Monday, happy Magic Monday with Bay. I normally like to do these in our sunroom, but the person is out mowing our lawn, which means A, it's very noisy, B, the sunroom is very, very hot this time of day, and C, Grimby will lose his mind. So here we are in my office instead. I just got back this morning from 3 days away. Adam and I went to, which is like crazy because we only got home on Sunday from Costa Rica, but we went on Friday to Souk, which is like not that far away, like about an hour's drive from here, for a Evergrowth coaching forge planning retreat. So we just wanted a little bit of time away from any distractions so that we could really focus in on getting some work done and some planning done for the forge, which is going to be coming up in September, which will be here like before we know it. So yeah, so it was really good. We got through a lot. Hey Maria, how are you? Is it late over there? I feel like it's late. I think our time zone difference must be like 9 hours. I'm just guessing. I don't really know. Um, I don't have a specific topic for today. I mean, apart from how did we connect on Facebook? Oh, you mean like live? I don't know, but it's pretty. You know why? I do know why. Because I'm doing this like a few hours later than I normally would. I bet that's why. The reason for that is because we got home from Costa Rica last Sunday morning, and then Monday through Thursday of last week, I've been participating in a coach training summit. So it's for people, well, I don't think you have to be going for your master certified coach credential. I am. Um, but yeah, it's a Essence of Mastery Summit, which is great. There's lots of guest speakers. So I spent most of last week, the full mornings, listening to guest speakers, and then I have 3 days this week of sessions as well. So it's pretty intense. I have to admit, for the month of June off, well, certainly me, I do not have that much off time. Adam was one of the guest speakers at the Essence of Mastery, which was awesome. His session was really, really good. But hilariously, because he was a guest speaker, he only needed to be there for an hour and a half, whereas as a participant, it's been, what, 3 hours times four, that math. Oh, 5 days last week. That's right. There was a session on Friday too. Okay, I can do math. I can do this. 3 times 4 is 12. So 13 and a half hours last week, and then 3 hours today, 3 hours tomorrow, and 3 hours on Wednesday. So like not nothing, not nothing. So pretty busy. It's actually been really good, which is nice. I find it's always hard to get to find like decent, thought-provoking, and like I will learn and grow from this programming for continuing education. So if that is important to people, which it is to me, mastery is important to me. Not so much becoming a master, but walking the path of mastery. I care really deeply about coaching. I wish more coaches did, and would at least, invest in like training as a coach, and then possibly continuing that training and continuing that education. So that's not important to everyone. It is to me. So I'm really pleased to be able to do it, but I'm also kind of like tired. I'm just tired. Okay, Maria is asking, how do we connect on Facebook? I meant as Facebook friends. I'm going through my list as I want to be intentional. I am not sure, Maria. I thought that we met at a Rich Litvin event. Does that sound familiar to you? That's what I think. Tell me what you think. But I'm pretty sure that's where we met, or in that community. I hope I make the cut. Nothing like having this happen live, guys. We will find out if I make the cut and get to remain on Maria's Facebook friends. Fingers crossed. Okay, so where was I? So yeah, I've been doing that. We had our planning weekend, which there's a lot to go through. The Forge has grown a lot in the past few years, and we have more layers to the Forge because we have leadership teams, and so really looking at creating more structure and clarifying more like roles and responsibilities for various people in the team so that we can make sure that people get to do what they want to do, that they're feeling challenged but not overburdened, that we're taking the feedback that we receive from the Forge and then ensuring that we are um, integrating it and implementing it. It's one of those things where it's kind of like you kind of we can't obviously like anything with feedback, you can't just give people everything that they want because it's very possible that you're giving people what they need or as opposed to what they want. Um, but we take feedback really seriously and then we look to we track it all year long and we make changes where we can on the fly and then otherwise we look at how we can integrate it into the upcoming year. So that's sort of what we were doing this weekend. It was kind of too bad. We were supposed to be up in Ucluelet and Tofino, which is one of my favorite places on the planet. It's super beautiful. However, there's a massive wildfire on the way and they had closed the highway. There is like a logging road that you can take, but it is A, very sketchy, and B, there'd be more traffic on it because people couldn't get through on the normal highway. So that's also not good. There's like no cell service, there's no gas stations, there's no help. Like if you're in trouble, you stay in trouble, I guess, on that road. Um, Pretty rough road. Grimby doesn't like it's like a 4-hour road trip up to there to Fino Ucluelet anyway, and Grimby doesn't like being in the car, and he really wouldn't have liked being like jostled that much. So we decided for all of those reasons, plus the fact that, emergency services was asking people to stay out of the area because it's an active wildfire. The last thing they need is to have more people that they need to sort out and evacuate. So we swapped our plans and we went instead to Souk, which is only about an hour away, still on the same like west coast of the island. It's very beautiful. And we rented a cute little place there. Now, hilariously, the place that we rented was like, it was really lovely. You can tell there's a but coming. The but is more about us and then the Airbnb. Like they didn't misrepresent it at all, but it was kind of like sort of like really, really nice glamping. So it was a very small building, almost like I don't want to say shed, it was bigger than a shed. It had like a really nice bedroom and a really nice bathroom. And then there was like a little kitchenette and a seating area. And it was all private. We had like, it was very, very private. We had our own space. We had our own hot tub, which was lovely. But the kitchen space was outside. And again, not a problem. It's been like really hot and summery. But of course, for all day Friday and Saturday were raining, which to be fair, we really need. So we were grateful for the rain, but we were just kind of like hunkered down, like trying to do work while it was yucky and raining and felt very much like camping, which we don't really do, in part because it feels like it rains every single time we go camping. In fact, when we moved from our apartment to here, we just donated all of our camping gear. All of it. Like it was a lot. We had everything. Tell me in the comments, are you a camper? Do you love camping? I have people who swear by camping. They also swear that they could make me love it. I don't know why people feel compelled to make you love something if you're like, I don't really love it. I don't really want to do it. People really like to see that as a challenge. Try to change your mind. Um, so tell me all about camping for you. So anyway, we were there. It was pretty lovely, despite the rain. And it's like kind of a double-edged sword because, like I said, obviously there's wildfires, but we really need the rain. It's not even summer yet, and our forest fire warnings have gone up to extreme, which usually takes a little bit longer, like July. It used to be August that we would get there, but now it's like July, and now it's June. It might have been up in May because it's been so hot and dry. Anyway, lots of planning was done. We bought some junk food, which did also make it feel like camping, so that was also great. And when we played, oh, the place that we stayed, like they really went above and beyond, so they tried to make it very much like a little spa getaway. So it was very spa-like. Beautiful like soaker tub inside. Like I said, a private hot tub. They had a massage table set up so you could like bring a masseuse in, or if you wanted to give your partner a massage, you could. And then they had like they had it all set up so you could do like foot soaks, and there was like a little gift basket, and it had like salts and like I don't know herbs and things. So you did a little foot soak with little pumice stone. So we did a little foot care. It was lovely. Um, okay, Maria's not a camper, right? I know. I used to love it. I'm sorry. I'm actually questioning myself. Was I just like a really amenable kid? I think I loved it. I was also a very amenable kid. Um, And camping was fun because at least here in North America, like, well, where I am in North America, camping meant that we got cereal we never got at home. And it came in like little individual boxes. And when you are a child, having a small individual portion of your own food is very exciting. Now, I realize I'm speaking from everyone when I say that, but I think kids love it. I think kids love when they have like their very own little cereal box. And what was my favorite? Probably Fruit Loops. We never got Fruit Loops. We probably shouldn't. It's terrible. The stuff is terrible. Um, Maria's all for deluxe treehouse with axe is camping. With an axe? Are you cutting down the treehouse? I feel like I'm missing something. But I'm with you. Those tree houses are pretty cool. I'm like, you know what? I like a cabin. I like a cabin. I like a cottage. I'm all for that. I could probably even be compelled to do like a really nice camper. But like to some point with camping, Adam and I just, oh, with AC. Yeah, that makes way more sense. You can see how I got confused. I'm like, you don't want an axe in a treehouse. Cut it down. Air conditioning. Yes, that makes way more sense. Um, Whenever Adam and I used to camp quite a bit together, and it was quite funny. I remember once we were camping down in like Washington State. The state parks are super gorgeous in at least in Washington State and in Oregon. But it was pretty funny because we were camping, and I remember one night we were just sitting there and we were like, "This kind of sucks." Like, I mean, we could just be sitting at home together, hanging out, doing nothing. You know, like here we're just doing the same thing we would do at home, but less comfortably. You know, it's weird. So that's how I feel about camping. Probably not going to change my mind. Um, yeah. So we got through a lot of work. We played the Harry Potter board game. I think it's Hogwarts. I don't know. Adam bought it because it seemed like a game that he could get me to play. So I'm not a huge board game person, usually because the rules are just like way too involved for me, but this one I can do, and it was super fun. Oh, Maria, I know you meant deluxe. I am, we are visioning the same treehouse here. I know what you mean. Not some raggedy treehouse. Ah, I know what you mean. Know exactly what you mean. That's like the like when I think glamping, I want like a raised floor, like wooden floor. I want like a canvas tent. I want like a copper tub, and I want a chef. Seems totally reasonable to me. That seems like that's great camping, in my opinion. Yeah, so we did that. Otherwise, it was like a little, I mean, it was good and we got through a lot of stuff, but I have to admit, like, as embarrassing as this is, but like last week was a little rough for me. So we came back from Costa Rica. We were a week at Rhythmia, and this time we weren't working, we were there as guests. So it was a great week. I healed a lot, I saw a lot, but some of it's pretty big. And um, integration after a week of ceremony can be pretty intense. And like, in fact, Rhythmia does such a great job of teaching you through the whole process and like helping you to integrate it. And they also kind of give you the heads up, like, hey, you're going to go home. And it's predictable that you might have a bit of a rough re-entry into life. And they kind of have a graph, and like day 3 is usually the worst, and then you'll kind of be climbing out. And that was definitely true for me this time. So I was feeling a little like emotionally ragged. Now I like ragged. We're gonna go with that word. Um, Feeling a little emotionally ragged, a little like, the medicine I received, another way of putting that would be like the lessons that I got, the learning that was there for me was really, really good, but it wasn't very easy, like some of it, it's just tough. And so, kind of working on integrating all of that and then just being with stuff that kind of came up last week while still exhausted and trying to integrate, while on a course and then prepping to go away for a planning weekend. It's been a lot, so I'm pretty tired. And even though we have the month of June off, which is incredible, I haven't had a lot of downtime to be working on the stuff that I wanted to work on. And usually in the month of June, I really like to go away on a big adventure. So last year, this time last year we were still in England. We spent 2 weeks in Scotland and a week in England, and we had an amazing time. So I really like in June to go away and have a big adventure, and it just didn't align because Adam had the Essence of Mastery. I was going to be a participant in it, and just all the things coming up, and we have to be in Colorado, not this week, but next week. So the month was just kind of chopped up, so we couldn't do what we would normally have done. So to answer your question, Maria, I have not finished my book. Well, I mean, the book is finished. I'm editing it. So I'm trying to finish the edits. And so far it's June 12th and I haven't gotten too far. I've spent some time, but I'm not as far as I'd like to be. It might not have been super realistic given. I don't think I took into account um, the summit that I'm attending and the amount of time that was going to take. So yeah, so not a very realistic structure that I created for myself there. Hoping to really dive in this week. But I'm also just really tired, just tired. So yeah, so that's kind of it. There's nothing wrong. It's not like bad news. It's nothing like terrible. Nothing's broken or needs to be fixed. I don't need, well, we probably all need help, but like I'm okay and it's just like a lot. So um, yeah, just kind of being with all that. And I think that's often the case. Like even if I don't know about you, but like I think it's pretty common for people when they go away on a like big trip or have a a peak experience, they go have a like lovely vacation. You kind of come home and there's a bit of the like post vacation blues. It's an actual thing, right? So you've just been living like an incredible time in a place maybe you've really wanted to see. Maybe it was really beautiful. We tend to do a lot of romanticizing when we're away, both leading up to it, romanticizing how amazing it's going to be, and then when we're there, we romanticize what it's like while we're there. And like it's difficult for us always to take into account that like part of what's so romantic about it is the fact that like you're off and you're just gallivanting about seeing beautiful things, eating good food. Your normal responsibilities are not present whilst you're away. And so or even if they are, like they're different. And so we tend to underestimate how much we don't usually people don't usually get enough rest when they're on vacation. So you often hear people joke that they need a vacation after their vacation, um, or they come home and they underestimate the impact of like stepping back into their life and their normal responsibilities and roles. So it just can be a lot. So this wasn't like that because I mean I'm pretty comfortable down at Rhythmia, although you guys know that we got down there and did not have our luggage for 5 days. 5 of the 7 days we did not have our luggage. So we were making do and, not quite as comfortable. And I learned a lot of lessons. It was quite funny. I think I talked about this last week. I'm really clear that the medicine for me, the work there is for me to do is to work on healing my attachments to people, to things, to stuff. And I can see all of where it came from. I can understand all of it. And now I have to do the work of like healing it and shifting it. And it's not even surprising to me that our luggage disappeared. As soon as it was gone, I was like, yeah, okay, well, I know what the medicine is for me this week. And that's totally been true. So, really leaning into the edge of surrender, letting go, relinquishing control. All of these things are really hard for me. And to be honest, I think they're hard for most of us most of the time. And not to make myself special, but I can speak for myself and go, I know that they are very difficult. They're challenging for me, has a lot to do with trauma, early childhood stuff. And so peeling my fingers off of this is not easy. So on the back of all of that, you know, just kind of hit the ground running. And then on Friday I went in and had I've been getting a tattoo sleeve done on my right arm, and I think I have had one, two, three sittings, and then Friday I went in for a fourth sitting to start coloring it in. And if you know me, you know I have many tattoos. This is probably my 11th tattoo. I mean, the 11th tattoo is my full arm, so there are 10 others on my body. So I'm not like unaccustomed to what it feels like to get a tattoo. I was dying on Friday. I was uncomfortable the whole time. It almost never ceased to be discomfort is not even the right word. Like I was in a lot of pain. And in hindsight, I can see maybe an integration week wasn't the best time. I was probably feeling just a little bit raw, like emotionally, and I think that was showing up physically. I also just was not paying attention to a calendar. So what I hadn't paid attention to was that it was also PMS week. So it's usually not a good time to engage in anything super painful. I mean, they even advise people, women, the week before their period to not like go wax your legs because it's going to hurt more. So I just wasn't paying attention. So I was in a lot of pain. I was also in a lot of pain. I mean, certainly the rest of Friday and then Saturday, like I was in taking ibuprofen, just trying to deal with the pain of my tattooed arm. So these are all like, I mean, it's kind of frivolous and silly, and I feel a little bit embarrassed, but it is all true. So in general, just feeling like kind of worn down, a little like tired and exhausted, and a little like sore physically, mentally, and emotionally. So all of that was going on. Um, yeah, and like to be totally honest, I feel like I've shared this before, but as glorious as it is to take the month of June off and the month of December off, and it truly is, I'm not complaining. People need to understand that like if you're self-employed and you're taking a month off, you're you're taking a month off without like being paid. And if you're self-employed, A, I would hope you enjoy what you do, and B, you take a lot of satisfaction out of it, and C, like in my world, the work that I do, I care deeply about my clients and what they're up to and where they're at. And so, I have to contend with, any concerns I have for clients or like manage my own. There's like a hair driving me crazy. I don't know where it's coming from. Go away. There, go away. I have to contend with all of what it brings up for me to take that time off to, like be with what comes up, which is again like letting go of control, letting go of managing things and taking care of things and handling things. So, yeah, it's just like a lot to be with. So that's all of what's coming up for me. I'm curious if you can relate, like, um, Maria, it sounds like you've got some of the, you know what I'm talking about. So I got a soul sister over there. Do you have fun, exciting getaway plans? Are you going on vacation? Where does one go for a vacation over there? Tell me all the things. I'm so curious. Um, I also always forget where you are. You're not in Sweden? Denmark? Switzerland? Not Switzerland. Sweden? Netherlands? Are you in the Tell me. Remind me. Terrible memory. And then one more thing I wanted to talk about was something that came up with a client, and it's come up with this client many times before, um, where what I notice is how difficult it can be to allow a reflection, to allow a reflection to land, without trying to filter it through whether or not you agree or disagree. Adam and I see this in the Forge all the time, and sadly slash ironically, it's typically with the people who are most like um, excited to join the Forge. That's not always the case. It's not limited to these people, but what we see really commonly is that people who've been like eager, wanting to be present, like be a part of the Forge, like finally they're very excited. As soon as they start getting feedback, uh, it's all getting filtered through whether or not they agree with it or disagree. And when we took a course with Werner Erhard, who created EST, you can comment on that all you want. There's lots of positives and negatives about it, which eventually became Landmark Forum. But essentially, he was like, um, he is contributed a lot to the realm of ontological work and ontological coaching. Um, so we were down in Mexico doing a course with Werner Erhard called Being a Leader. Super intense course. We did it 2019, just before the pandemic started. Hard to even remember and believe that was then. Seems like a lifetime ago. Um, One of the ways they described it there, which has always stuck with me, was the idea of, taking information and trying to fit it in to the wall of bricks you already have. So instead of taking new information and letting it like have an impact on you, we commonly take information trying to see whether we agree or disagree. And that means like to look as to whether it fits in with our worldview already. Now, when we're doing that, the problem is nothing can make a difference for us because we're either seeing if it fits into the wall. And if it does, awesome, but we didn't learn anything or discover anything. And if it doesn't, then we discard it. It doesn't fit in with what I already know, so I discard it. So then no difference can be made. We're not going to learn, we're not going to evolve, we're not going to transform, we're not going to change, which isn't a problem unless you're looking to grow, learn, evolve, transform, and change, right? And typically what I see is that people who really want to do those things, learn, grow, change, evolve, transform, are often the same people who really struggle to accept feedback, without filtering it through a lens of whether they agree or disagree. And so that just sucks because I mean, it sucks for everyone because it's not that fun to provide feedback to someone who is deciding whether or not your feedback is valuable to them. Like, eventually, people are going to stop giving you feedback. If you just disagree with everything anybody ever shares with you, people are going to stop giving you feedback. And also, you might become frustrated. You might notice that um, nothing's making a difference, or you can't figure out how to change something. Well, if you are listening through a context is just a lens, a filter. Filter's a good word for it. But if your filter is set for whether you agree or disagree, almost nothing's going to make much of a difference to you. And that's going to be really unfortunate because it's going to mean that you can't grow, change, transform, evolve, right? And so, yeah, I noticed this last week with a client who this is a real pattern, and it's really unfortunate because she's up to a lot of really big things and she's trying to create organizational change, and it is organizational change that is very, very necessary. So they're a startup. They are struggling like lots of tech startups. In some ways, they're really well situated, and in other ways, it's like even though they're really well situated, given the current um, climate in the tech world, they're not seeing the success they want to see. And what happens is in the realm of like looking at how to change things, when I offer a reflection, um, this person is listening as to whether or not she agrees with the statement or disagrees. And if she disagrees with it, she tends to have evidence to prove why it's not so, and gets a little like defensive, which is totally normal. Just to be clear, it's totally normal when we're given feedback, especially if it's critical, not negative, but critical, right? So feedback that shows us that there might be a different way that we might need to be thinking or being or acting. It's easy and normal, and I would do it too, to feel a little defensive. But if we can't get past that and realize, A, I have asked for this feedback, and B, doing it the same way isn't working. So if I'm going to ask for feedback and then disagree with it, and then continue to try to resolve an issue or create change or like make things work better, I'm probably going to struggle quite a bit. So it's really, really important to notice if you have a tendency to fall into the trap of agreeing or disagreeing with what people are telling you. I mean, there's lots of cases where you can see it's super obvious. You can see it's not funny. I'm laughing only because it's so obvious, where somebody says that you have hurt their feelings. And so if you're really busy thinking about whether or not you agree with, whether or not you've hurt their feelings, you are missing the point. It doesn't matter whether you agree or disagree. It doesn't even matter whether or not you intended to, although, probably I'm hopeful that you didn't intend to. What matters is that someone is telling you that they feel hurt. And if you are more invested in being right, that you didn't do it, like you didn't hurt their feelings, or their feelings shouldn't be hurt, or that you didn't intend to, so therefore they shouldn't be hurt, you're going to find yourself more and more alienated in relationships. You see this all the time, where you have like a power differential or like a hierarchy. So I would run into this all the time working for the government, where the government is just one huge, never-ending hierarchy of administrative nightmare. That was my opinion. I'm actually complete about all of it, and it's just not the place for me. Too slow. It's a slow-moving beast. Right, and so what happens is that people, if they're giving you feedback and you're just disagreeing with it, what happens is that those people are going to become discouraged. They might feel disenfranchised, and they might feel like they can't make a difference. So they could become pretty cynical that anything's going to change. And so I'm curious if this resonates with anyone here. I think a few of you are watching. If this is this something that you can relate to, whether you struggle, whether you yourself know that you can fall into right, wrong. I can definitely. I've done a lot of work and I don't tend to land there as much these days, but But years ago, certainly that was my go-to, especially as someone who's really sensitive and empathetic, empathic even. I was so loath to make anyone feel bad because I hated when I felt bad that I really couldn't be with any kind of feedback or reflection that I might have inadvertently caused someone the kind of pain that I would hate to experience. I just couldn't be with it. But the problem is anything we can't be with has power over us. So the same if someone is giving you feedback, right? It's sort of like if Michael Phelps um, had a swim coach who was giving him feedback and saying like, "Hey, Michael, like your right hand should be cutting into the water on this angle, but it's kind of like going out this way and it's costing you, like it's making you less, I want to say aerodynamic, but if you're in the water, I guess you're not aerodynamic. What are you? Hydrodynamic? Is that a thing? It is now, making Michael Phelps less hydrodynamic. And if Michael Phelps just said to his coach, like, well, I disagree, then why why do you have your coach there? Right? Now, this doesn't mean that when we're working with a coach, we have to just roll over on our backs and everything the coach says is gospel and has to be the truth. But we might want to really check in. Um, you might want at least to take a look. What about this might be true? What if it was true? What if there was some truth in here? What might be valuable about this? What could I learn? What could I discover? And if we're too busy going, no, I disagree, and here's why, all of that gets lost. And then we continue to do the thing likely that we can't even see, right? Especially if we're talking to our coach, which is a person who ostensibly we have hired because we trust them, because we want them on our side, and because we're asking them to be able to see things we cannot see, right? Part of working with a coach is that this person can see our blind spot. Anybody else can see our blind spots, right? We can't see our own, but working with a coach is someone who is hopefully caring, who stands for our greatness, who can see and hold and stand for the transformation that we are trying to create, the person that we want to become, and the results we want to generate. So if the person standing from that vantage point has some feedback, it might be more interesting as a conversation to take a look at where might this be true, or to be curious. Curiosity, I swear, would probably solve like 99%, maybe even 100, I don't know. Most of the world's problems, if we could be curious instead of judgmental, if we could be curious instead of snapping to right and wrong, which is really common. It's a survival mechanism. It's smart. It stops you from having to be vulnerable. Right? I'll say that again. Getting caught in a right-wrong context, right? Or remember, context is like a filter. So if we have a filter for right or wrong, we only have two options, and we don't like one of them. So the only one really available to us is to continually be right all the time. And the only way we can be continually right all the time is if we are playing a pretty small game, or if we remain quite rigid. And those things typically don't lend themselves to a lot of growth, a lot of self-reflection, a lot of development, personal development. They don't allow a lot of creativity. Right and wrong is just water on the fires of creativity. And so if you are in a situation where you're facing, you know, challenges or obstacles or, you know, a situation that you want to see go differently, and you're getting really frustrated, it might be worth taking a look where you might be accidentally slipping into listening through a right-wrong filter, because it's going to make everything else really impossible. So I've spent a lot of time thinking about this. It's super frustrating to me. I mean, it's fine. I'm fine for my clients to be wherever they are, and it's also frustrating. Um, I'm a human, and so it is frustrating to know that you are offering something that would be valuable and it's something someone has actually asked for, and then to have it be kind of hitting that brick wall. Like I'm fine. I get supported, and I do my work, and I know this is totally normal. This is just super basic survival mechanism 101. But when someone's stuck in a right-wrong context, they can't even see that it's their survival mechanism. Because typically, someone with a strong right wrong context falls into the space of having a survival mechanism wrong. So then they can't even see that it's their survival mechanism, which it is. And there's nothing wrong with it. But if we're stuck in right wrong, most things we see are going to be right wrong. What they're doing is right or wrong. What he said is right or wrong. What she said is right or wrong. And typically, if we're stuck in a right wrong context, a little spoiler, we're typically stuck with the wrong. If we're really accustomed to looking through the lens of whether something is right or something is wrong, it is typical that we are afraid of being wrong, and so we will not let ourselves like own it. And typically, if we're busy looking through the lens of, it's just judgment. You can hear it, right? Right, wrong is judgment, is judgmental. So typically, if we're stuck in a right, wrong space, we'll know because we'll have likely a lot of frustration because things aren't changing. You can't figure it out. Something's missing, something won't work. You might have frustration or judgment on people that you're working with. How come my team isn't just doing what I said? How come we're trying this thing and it's not working? So you have a lot of judgment, a lot of frustration, um, and you'll feel really stuck. You'll feel really stuck. You might feel very defensive. And these are all things that I'm trying to pull the threads apart so that you can start to see what the signs are, so that you can help to diagnose like when you're accidentally stepping into a space of being in a right wrong context. When your filter is stuck on a setting of right wrong, these are the signs, right? Like I said, frustration, you might be discouraged, you might feel a little cynical, you might have a lot of judgment on yourself or others, you might find yourself just like trying to work even harder or push, push, push. These are all things that are really common when we're in a right wrong place, and they don't help. I'm guessing you probably already know this by now, but like when you're in it, it feels like you just need to do that thing harder more. And what you actually need to do is step back and ask yourself, what am I missing here? Oh my God, I'm in a right wrong space. Go get supported. Talk to your coach, talk to a therapist, talk to a friend, talk to your dog, talk to a tree. I don't care. Just like start to take a look and get a little altitude. That's another thing. If we're in a right wrong space, you can see this in like the world of politics right now. Like people are just so busy screaming at each other. There is no space to just stop and take a breath. And in that space, we can't really look at like what is it we want to have created. We're too busy defending our sides. We're too busy defending my opinion and attacking yours. So right, wrong, you can see it in the worst cases in the media. You can see it in the political arena. It's gross. It's not helpful. You can see it um, anywhere where you've had a relationship breakdown. So it could be with a romantic partner, it could be with your family of origin. Look to your parents, look to your siblings, look to even friends, like where you've had a breakdown in relationship, you'll likely see a lot of like hurt feelings and defensiveness on your side. And you could probably imagine the same over there. You might feel attacked. If you're feeling attacked, it's very likely that you have slipped into a right wrong context. And that just means that your survival mechanism is activated. And all that's needed is getting yourself back to being, back to breathing, doing whatever it is helps you calm your central nervous system. Right wrong is a central nervous system response, right? So like, central nervous system responses are like fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. So typically, um, a right wrong context is related to the fight response. You can see it, right? Like if you provide a reflection to someone, or like they might even ask you like, hey, can you give me a hand with this? What can you see? And you tell them what you see and they're like, no, that's not the case. It's a fight. It's a pushback, right? So it's a central nervous system response. It just means you've become dysregulated. So what is it that you can take on to regulate yourself? Maybe it's go for a walk. Maybe it's give yourself time to go have a cry, call a friend. Maybe it's chop wood in the backyard. Maybe it's throw a tantrum. Honestly, everyone I know, probably myself included, but like really severely underestimates the benefit of a tantrum. And if you've ever done any breath work, um, that like guided breath, well, maybe not guided, but in guided breath work, a lot of things can happen. Breath work is like a magic sauce all of its own. But when things really build up, breathwork teachers will invite you to practice what they call toning. And toning is simply an adult, well, it's just a tantrum. We call it adult as opposed to a child, but like you're going to throw a tantrum like a kid. So you're on your back and you let out a yell, like you shout and you pummel the ground with your hands and your feet. So this works and it looks familiar, right? It looks like a toddler throwing a tantrum. It works for toddlers, which is funny because adults can't be with a toddler tantrum. The only reason you can't be with a toddler throwing a tantrum is probably one, maybe the time and place. It might just be embarrassing. You're assuming that it feels like a toddler throwing a tantrum is reflecting on your parenting. It's not. A toddler throwing a tantrum is, first of all, just going through a completely normal growth period. And the tantruming is really important. Kids that didn't get to throw tantrums, they're going to pay for that later. They're going to have to learn how to regulate their central nervous system because they didn't get the opportunity to learn how to do it somatically in their bodies. Really important. And it's just as important for adults. I think there's probably a lot of adults just like me whose parents were proud that their kid didn't throw a tantrum, or if they did it once and they never did it again. That just means the kid was too terrified by the consequence. They were punished for trying to regulate their central nervous system. But that's actually, it's really important, and it works as well for an adult as it does for a child. So the next time you feel totally overwhelmed, or you feel attacked, or you feel like backed into a corner or frustrated, go take yourself to your bedroom, shut the door, maybe throw on some loud music, and then put yourself on the bed and just have a tantrum. One, no one's going to get hurt. And two, you're not going to disturb anyone. Just make sure the dog's far away. I'm saying that because my dog gets like really tense. He's super empathic. He's super sensitive. So I have to make sure the dog is fine and then go and do this. I dare you to give this a try and not feel better. Please tell me. I want to know. Anyway, I'm going on and on. These are musings from this week. So one, just, you know, hopefully I've learned from my own lesson, and give yourself ample space to integrate. Give yourself time to land. Assume reentry might be a little tough and see if you can give yourself a little more space, a little more grace, a little more love, a little more kindness. Maybe take some stuff off your calendar. I did not do that last week. It just hit the ground running and I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted today. So if you're feeling like me, then maybe give yourself a little bit of room, because if you keep going this way, if you're like me, you're probably going to end up sick or bottoming out emotionally, or both. So give yourself some grace, give yourself some space, and then notice if there's any kind of patterns showing up for you. For example, are you in a right-wrong frame of mind? Are you in a right-wrong lens? And if so, consider you need a little more grace and a little more space. So take care of yourselves. I hope you have a super magical week, and I will talk to you on Monday. Ciao for now. Bye.